faces. Yeah. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the March producer live stream.
Hello, everyone.
You are?
I am Ben Irving, producer for Star Wars The Old Republic.
And I'm Eric Musco, community manager. We apologize for the 6-minute delay. Long story. Don't worry about it. All right, shall we move on?
All Musco's fault.
It is all my fault.
Obviously.
It is all my fault. All right, shall we move to the next slide? Get this bad boy started?
Yeah, let's get going.
Boom.
Again, thank you everyone for tuning in to the monthly producer stream. Agenda topics for today, do our classic State of the Galaxy, talk about some hot topics in the community and other things that are relevant.
Yep.
Then we're going to talk about the launch of Chapter 11, Disavowed, move on into the Odessan Proving Grounds and Rishi Arena. Odessan Proving Grounds is our official name for the new Warzone. We have some quality of life improvements, some additional ones that I had shared last month. Give you guys an update on the Eternal Championship, and then we'll have our special guest, Charles Boyd, join us for story time with Charles Boyd.
That's right.
To talk about Chapter 12, Visions in the Dark.
Correct. All right. Let's move into State of the Galaxy.
Yeah. So, first of all, the Eternal Championship. So, as you guys know, we had to delay the launch of the Eternal Championship. The ultimate reason for that is it just wasn't ready. You know, the quality wasn't there, and the feature was not fun enough, basically. And you know, it's kind of just life in game development. We're trying to be as transparent with you guys on upcoming features as we can, and the downside of that is occasionally it all comes together and we say, hey, this thing just isn't ready, it needs a little bit more TLC, and that was the case with the Eternal Championship. So I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Just wanted to come up front and say we pushed that out. And the reason for that was quality and just making sure we deliver something that's really fun and really amazing to you guys when it is ready.
Right.
So Chapter 11, Disavowed, launched for early access yesterday, and full access is coming out tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit about that next slide. Just to talk specifically about the launch, we know there are a couple of issues with the launch. We actually have a patch prepping right now for tomorrow morning. Yep. Tate is going to post the patch notes and details of what fixes are in there. I know there are a bunch of issues. We want to fix the important one around Jorgen. There are a couple of other fixes that we really want to get to that probably won't come tomorrow, and we'll try to get them to you early next week, hopefully by Tuesday if we can. But the community guys will post the details of that. But do know a patch is coming tomorrow, and a follow-up patch will come next week.
Yep.
Community content. So do you want to kick this off a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things that I've talked about a lot, certainly, and it's something that I know that guys like Ben and stuff on the dev team really appreciate, is all the amazing content that you guys make in the community. We have so many great podcasts and YouTubers, and we don't get to highlight that stuff too often.
That's right.
Or we don't really, and we want to make sure to do that. And there's definitely some people, just to give a few examples, for one, Bad Feeling Podcast. They're local to Austin. We were able to bring them out, play the Odessan Proving Ground early, give us some feedback and stuff early on, which was cool. SWTOR. And this is one of the reasons that we brought this up. That she started this video series called The Academy, which just has these really, really great video guides to introduce new players to the game, or even if you're an existing player, kind of explains some of the systems. So some really, really cool stuff there. And then we found a cool video by a YouTuber, Kid Lee, describing the Odessan Proving Grounds, and we're actually going to show you a little bit later in the live stream, just because it's a cool way to talk about what the Odessan Proving Grounds is. So we just really wanted to thank you guys for all the great content that you guys put out. We do see it. It's something that me and my team forward on to these guys all the time to make sure that they see it, and they see it without us even forwarding it. They're looking at the forums and Reddit and social media.
And just also encourage you guys as the core players to share that information. You know, the SWTOR game is only as good as the community who plays it, and there are so many brand new players in the game right now, and if you guys can help them out by sharing some of the cool videos like SWTOR had made, I think it makes for a stronger community and ultimately a better game. So thank you guys for contributing, but also encourage you to share it with the new players out there.
Yeah, and only because I see it in chat. Just because I didn't mention you specifically in the three, believe me, we listen to all of our podcasts, we read all the blogs. Thank all of you guys, just because I didn't name you in one of those three. Yeah. Believe me, we know you're out there and we love you guys.
Keep it up. All right, so Chapter 11, Disavowed. So in case you haven't played it because you weren't in early access, it's now available and free to all subscribers who were part of early access.
Yep.
If you weren't part of early access, you'll get it tomorrow. Again, to quickly summarize, you join forces with Major Jorgen and Havoc Squad. Really exciting, especially if you have played the Trooper story, it's exciting. If not, really cool character that you get to hang out with and venture deep into enemy territory to change the course of the war on the Eternal Throne. I think it's too early to talk about what you discover at the end of that chapter.
Sure, we don't want to spoil it.
It's really exciting.
Yeah, since release is tomorrow, we don't really want to tell you what it is. But.
And when Charles comes for story time, we might touch a little bit on what that might mean as we get into Chapter 12 and beyond. And just to call out as well that the new disavowed Cartel Market Pack went live yesterday as well. I know you have opened a couple of hypercrates.
I've opened 2 hypercrates.
What are some of your favorite things?
Yeah, so it's really cool because if you love the Trooper or you love Jorgen, for example, Jorgen's armor set is in there. Yep. The Havoc Trooper armor set is in there. So there's a lot of really, really great items. There's a new mount, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it's like a floating pedestal. It's just the coolest thing.
The first standing mount.
I'm a mount collector, so I love every time that we get in a pack. So there's a lot of really, really good stuff in this pack.
And it's funny you say that. The Cartel Market team told me the Havoc Squad armor sets have been the most popular, but also that mount you mentioned is been really popular as well so far.
Yeah.
Cool. So the Odessa Proving Grounds and the Rishi Arena. So if you just back one, these are some screenshots we showed before. I don't want to get into all the detail of it because we covered it off last time. And the real goal is to show you guys a video of it. But just a couple of updates. First of all, we said it was coming with Chapter 12. That's going to be on April 5th.
Yep.
This will be on April 5th. If you're a part of Early Access, you get also Chapter 12. If not, April 7th for the chapter. But Odessa Proving Grounds and the Rishi Arena will be available to subscribers on April 5th. We talked about this last stream, but the whole idea with this is cross-faction alliance teams train for their ongoing fight against the Eternal Throne. So one of the really cool features is you can play with the opposite faction on the same team. It's part of the lore of, we're all here fighting against the Eternal Empire, and we're going to train together to facilitate that. Iteration is in progress. That's where we're at in our development cycle. And kind of the point of bringing this up was to say, we went to PTS recently.
Is that the next bullet? Nope.
No, I rebranded
the
bullet point. Yeah, I'm sorry.
There you go. This is what happens when we go through the PowerPoint and we change PowerPoints.
Yeah.
It's all the same.
We really just want to call out to say thank you, really. We went up on PTS, and I know the combat team has really appreciated all of the feedback that you guys have got. And there's been some really specific and meaningful changes. I asked Alex Modney, I was like, hey, can you just hit me up with 2 or 3 changes? And he sent me a link to a page that has 15 changes in it. And I'm like, I can't read 15 changes out on the stream, man. Yeah. He's like, yeah, but that's what this came from. Yeah. That's what the community did. They gave this feedback, and it's what we changed. So there are a couple of specifics we can call out. I had to write them down. Just things like control points being active for 90 seconds instead of 75 seconds was direct feedback from you guys. Making sure only the 3 middle control points have a chance to become active in round 1 to kind of limit the playing field at the start.
Yep.
And making sure battle mods are now available in the first round as well. Yep. So just a couple of examples, but like I said, huge page of feedback. Again, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, it was something where both my team, the combat team, we were looking through the PTS forums constantly, looking for all the feedback you guys were giving on what you liked about the Warzone, what you didn't. We were watching live streams of people playing it, watching people's YouTube videos and guide write-ups of what they felt was strong about the Warzone and what didn't. And like Ben said, literally the change list came from that feedback. We wanted to see how you guys felt about the Warzone and what you wanted to change, and I think it made the Warzone better for it. So thank you guys.
Also just want to confirm the Rishi Arena is going to come with Chapter 12, so also available on April 5th. We said TBD last time, but playtesting's been good, feedback's been fine, so we're going to put that out with Chapter 12 as well.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about this?
Yeah. So again, one of the things that we do is we keep our eyes out for different content and stuff that people are making, and as opposed to us just describing to you exactly how the Odessa Proving Grounds work, we found this great video from Kid Lee where it's a 20-minute video in total. We're not going to show you this. I think it's 17. We're not going to show you the 17 minutes, but there's a 2-minute section of it that does a really, really good job of talking through exactly how Odessa Proving Grounds work. There are some changes since the time he recorded this video, which he did a good job of actually annotating. animating and explaining that. So we'll leave the annotation up for a little bit. We're gonna play that video for the 2 minutes that explain it. For any of you that haven't played it to get an idea of how it works. And we just wanted to give a shout to Kidley for making the cool video and showing us how much he's enjoying Odessa Proving Grounds and writing up that guide video. So our faces are going to disappear so you don't see them during the video, and we'll play it for the 2 minutes and then we'll be right back. All right?
Let's do it.
Good? All right. First our faces and the mics disappear, and then I'll show it to you.
Welcome, ladies and Warzone. Just so you know how this one works, we're going to go ahead and start with control points spawning. At the start of the match, 2 control points will spawn at random. Control points last for 1 round, and a round lasts for about 75 seconds. The amount of control points active increase as more rounds occur. There are going to be 8 rounds in total, though it is possible for teams to win before that 8th round actually happens. Rounds 1, 2, and 3, you will see 2 control points. Rounds 4, 5, and 6, you'll see 3 control points. In rounds 7 and 8, you will see 4. After round 1, battle mods spawn. Battle mods have different impacts on points depending on which mod you have. Next up, we have capping a control point. So control points are proximity based. Standing inside of the control area counts towards capture. It takes 3 seconds of uncontested control to capture a point. To hold a capture point against the other team, stay inside of the control point. Remaining inside the control point blocks the other team from capturing it. The amount of players does not matter. If one team is removed or otherwise leaves the control pointed area, there is a grace period of 3 seconds before that owning team loses control. Capturing a control point and losing control can occur at the same time, so if the grace period is not met, then the control point is lost for one and gained for another. Characters in stealth do not count towards the control of a control point area. And last couple notes, owning a control point for 1 second grants 1 point, and then the number of characters within a control point does not affect the scoring. The grand scheme of the match is to be the first team to 600 points.
New active control points.
SWTOR, that is Warzone, is called the Odessan.
All right, and we are back. Let me get our faces back.
Faces back.
Anyway, thank you again, Kidley, for doing that video. Again, we just wanted to highlight some of the cool community content that's out there.
Yeah, for sure. Do you want to? There's a couple questions.
Yeah. So 2 of the questions that we saw, because I think that there's a little bit of confusion, is the Warzone for subscribers only?
Yeah. So I misspoke just a couple minutes ago. The Warzone is an update available to everybody. So, yep. That's the way it is.
Yep. And then we specifically stated that Odessa Proving Grounds is cross-faction. So it's like you could have a Sork and a Trooper on the same team. Is that going to be only for Odessa Proving Ground, or is that for all war zones?
Yeah, so right now it's only going to be for the Odessa Proving Grounds. You know, thematically it really makes sense in that situation. We've considered expanding that to other war zones potentially in the future, but right now we just want to do it for the Odessa Proving Grounds. We'll see how it goes and make a decision from there.
Cool. All right, let's jump into some quality of life stuff.
Yeah. Oh, hey, there was one more question. Will the Eternal Championship come with Chapter 12? That's a great question, and I'm going to cover Eternal Championship in a couple of slides. So thank you.
Oh, helps if I put it on PowerPoint.
Yeah, so quality of life stuff. We talked about this last stream as well. I actually showed this first slide, so there's nothing new here, but I have some extra stuff to show on the next slide. Just wanted to do a really quick refresher for people who maybe didn't tune in last stream. So we're making some really cool quality of life improvements to both strongholds and guilds. So for strongholds, you can have all 5 personal strongholds now, which is a great addition. People have been asking for it forever.
Yep.
We upped the decoration limits for flagships by 50%. For common decorations, we're up to 999 as the new limit. There are some rare items and other things that don't follow that rule, but as many as we could do that made sense, we upped the limit so you guys can put those decorations across more strongholds. On guilds, one of the biggest things asked for all eternity was let us have 1,000 people or more than 500.
Yep.
And so we've upped that cap. Added a legacy name column to the guild window with a primary character flag, so you can see people who are all really the same person with multiple characters, and you can flag which one is their main character that they play the most, as well as having mass selection to make it easier to manage guild members. So that's the refresher from last month.
Yep.
But if you didn't know about it, it's some cool new quality of life stuff.
And I've seen some. I've definitely seen some good questions in chat, specifically around these two features. Things like the stronghold bonus for conquests and how some of the guild improvement UI stuff will go. As always, we'll post a wrap-up of the live stream afterwards on the forums. Ask those questions there, because those are things that I don't know the answers to off the top of my head. I don't know if Ben will either, but we can get those answers from the dev team. So that's super specific-y stuff we'll definitely answer afterwards.
Yep. So let's talk about some of the new quality of life things that we haven't talked about, and some of these are actually already available on PTS.
Yep.
So first of all, character name improvement. So the longer a game goes on, the harder it is to find a unique name.
Yep.
So we wanted to just allow having a space in a name to have more flexibility with names. And that sounds like a really silly and small thing, but it's actually really big. Like a lot of players are very attached to their names, and having the name you want is actually a really important part of playing the character you want and enjoying the story the way you want to enjoy the story. And so having the space available just makes a lot more flexibility. So a pretty simple thing that I think will be really well received by all of you guys.
Yep.
So PvE and PvP instance types. So traditionally in the past, all of our servers have been a specific type, whether it's PvP or PvE.
Yep.
We wanted to do away with that. We thought that created boundaries that didn't serve any purpose and were kind of an outdated kind of type.
And very specifically, it would be if let's say you're on a PvP server and I'm your friend, but I don't want to be on a PvP server, we can't play together. One of us has to make a sacrifice for that to happen.
Yeah. So what we wanted to do instead is make that an instance type. So you can now be on any server that you want, and through the map, you can say, hey, I want to be in PvP instances. So if you want to do that and go out into the world and participate in open world PvP, you can flag yourself that way and you can go and do it.
Yep.
If you're a PvE player only and you don't want to be part of PvP at all, you can flag yourself to be PvE. So the whole idea, to Musco's point, is it just creates flexibility. Do you want to do open world PvP? Great. Pick any server you want and flag to be in the PvP servers. Do you want to go and join a guild on a specific server because you heard they're really amazing, but they're on the wrong type of server for you? Doesn't matter anymore. You can still go there and flag yourself any way you want. Do you prefer to be with heaps of people and be on one of the really busy servers? You can go and join one of those servers. Would you rather play in a bit of a quieter environment? Like you can pick to go on one of the lesser populated servers. So it just frees you up for a lot of different options for things that you can do. So a really nice quality of life feature.
Yeah, good deal.
And this one's pretty minor, I think, especially for the people in the stream. You won't come across this very often, but we wanted to update the server select screen. It was out of date. It didn't make sense with the new PvE and PvP instance types, so we gave it a bit of a facelift and made it reflect the state of the game as it is today. So that'll be going up as well.
Yep.
And the last one is some social window improvements. So again, pretty small feature, but sometimes it's the little things that count. Things like using /who and how that feature operates, and I won't dive into details of it, but just some really small changes that'll be really nice for those of you out there who often try to find where your friends are at or to look for people in certain areas. This will just make your life a little bit easier, which is really cool.
Right. Good deal.
Okay. Moving on to the Eternal Championship.
Yep.
So an update on this. So first of all, let's just quickly remind people, what is this all about? The Eternal Championship allows you to compete in the Mayhem event against some of the galaxy's most notorious fighters to earn the title of the Eternal Champion. We talked about this before. It's intended for individuals to challenge themselves in a 10 boss encounter environment where as you progress further and further, the encounters get harder and harder. I say solo, but you can absolutely play with a friend.
Yep.
If you want to do this as a group, it'll be easier, obviously, than doing it by yourself. But if you want to just see the content, or even chase the rare drops. You can get the rare drops in a group.
With your friends, yep.
If you want to lower your chances with 4 of your friends. How close of friends are they? I don't know. But you can do it in a group as well. But it's intended to challenge solo players. There's some quests around it, some weekly quests, as well as obviously obtaining the Eternal Champion title.
That's right.
And we showed Musco playing them last month, which was really good.
Yeah, they cut out all the parts where I died. I will say, when I played it, I only played, so there's 10 bosses in total. I only played the first 5 when I played it, and it was a lot of fun, but definitely even at that time, it's one of those things where judging things like difficulty and a lot of that stuff is the things that we were iterating on that we were still trying to nail down exactly what was fun, which was one of the reasons that we decided to delay it.
Right.
Which brings up potentially what the next bullet is.
Yeah, so I don't want to announce a launch date today because we didn't do a great job of that last time. But what we're committed to doing is in 4 weeks, I'll have the announced date ready for you guys. If not beforehand, we might announce it before the next producer stream.
Yep.
Potentially, but that'll be the upper limit. It will be 4 weeks. And then what we really want to do, we had such great success by putting the Warzone on PTS and getting feedback from our players that we want to do the same thing with the Eternal Championship. So our plan right now is we'll have Eternal Championship up on PTS in March. I think the goal is within the next 2 weeks, but we want to give ourselves March as the window to get it up there. And with that, there'll be a blog. We talked about a blog being planned, but it just didn't make sense to release it because we were making a bunch of changes and we wanted to make sure it was still relevant. So we're hoping to put that out before the end of March as well. So stay tuned. We'd love to get you guys' feedback. Musco touched on it a little bit, but when it all came together and we're all play testing these 10 encounters, there was just something missing.
Yep.
And the team talked me through all the changes they want to make. It's really exciting stuff. I think when everyone gets their hands on it on PTS, you guys are going to have a really great time, and I can't wait to see that feedback come in, and we can make a few improvements and then get it out for everyone to enjoy.
Because the boss encounters are crazy. They're crazy and they're fun.
Some of them are,
Some of them are just
really hard, actually.
They're out of control. Some of them are amazing. Yep. All right. One of the questions, I'll let you talk through this, and then I'll go through some of the questions that I've seen.
Okay, cool. So sub-rewards, just to update people, I saw some questions floating through the stream. I think they were all, please, can we have more HK55 rewards? And the answer to that question is absolutely we can.
I won't repeat them on stream, but I've seen some amazing jokes in chat.
Have you? Okay.
That's all I will say, but I cannot say them on stream.
Tell me later. So the March subscriber rewards. So these are out there now. If you were subscribed on March 1st, you got access to the HK55 helmet, which is really cool, as well as early access to Chapter 11 Disavowed. For people who subscribe in April, so by April 1st, we're delivering an HK55 weapon set that includes a sniper rifle, a blaster pistol, and a vibro sword.
The vibro sword is ridiculous.
If you're paying close attention, the background image is what those 3 rewards are, and I'm going to take the text off in a second so you get a better look at them.
Yep.
And obviously as well, if you're subscribed on April 1st, you'll get early access to Chapter 12, Visions in the Dark, that we're about to talk about pretty soon.
Yep.
But if you hit this, I think, did I do it? Yeah, there we go. Gives you a better look at those weapons.
The vibro sword is amazing. When I saw it, I was like, wow, that's
and this actually isn't the best angle for the vibro sword.
Correct.
I wanted to leave something out there for people to get excited about. That's it for sub rewards.
Good deal. I'm going to press the next button.
Next. Oh, it is. Story time with Charles Boyd.
That's right. Just when you thought it was only going to be the 2 of us, we're bringing in someone else as well. So I'm going to slide.
He's right here.
Shimmy over. So one of the questions that I've seen quite a bit pop up when we were talking about the quality of life features is can you use things like titles like Darth and Lord and stuff as part of the new space in the name? I don't know the exact naming rules, but I will find them out. So ask those nitty-gritty stuff. Those are the things you should definitely ask afterwards in the forums. But enough about that.
Do we need to comment on the T-shirt?
I think we do. So
that.
Yeah.
You
can't really. You've got a sweater on.
Each one of us is wearing a different studio shirt. I'm going to say we planned that. We did not. But I'm going to say that we intentionally planned it. We have
this
to comment.
Is as close as you and I have got to doing something that makes sense in quite a few months.
We have to comment on the shirts every single time.
Yeah.
So with Charles here, and I'm about to press forward in a second, but anyone who has story-related questions, definitely throw them in chat as well, and I'll pull anything out that we've seen. There you go.
Hello. Yes. So first up, obviously we're kind of transitioning from the Charles Boyd story stream to a Charles Boyd guest spot on the producer stream, as well as an upcoming piece that we're going to release.
Spot.
That's
Featured
right.
guest spot.
Featured. It would be and Charles Boyd at the end
That's
of the credits.
right.
Anyway, we've got a special story video blog coming up hopefully in the next week or two. We're still nailing down the exact release date.
We've seen a lot of questions on when is that coming for the people
Yeah.
who really liked Charles's story stream, and the answer is in the next week or two.
Yeah, as soon as we can. So that'll be a much shorter kind of piece focused on Chapter 11, and it'll talk about some background, some details there. And we wanted to take this opportunity to kind of do more of the Q&A stuff from the other stream. And
Because we're about to talk about Chapter 12 in a second, but we thought before we get there, maybe we could open up the floor to some questions.
So one of the questions we see it every time we do a story stream, and I'm going to ask it every time. People want to know when they're going to get their favorite companion back.
It's really a factor of the story itself, right? Like, we don't want to just throw companions at people willy-nilly or that have nothing to do with what's going on. It really needs to feel like they are tied into the story, that they're a core part of it, that they matter, that they are integral to what's happening. You know, people really love these characters. They really love to, you know, like you said, they're asking because they want to see them again. They
Absolutely.
want those interactions to matter. And a key part of that is making sure that the story reflects those characters, that it's the kind of story where they fit and where they can actually have the interactions with those characters that they want to have, you know, whether it's a romance or kind of jokey stuff with characters like Galt, you know, stuff like that. We just want to be sure we do them justice because we love the companions just as much as y'all do. We've been writing them for many years. We, you know, it's they're very close to our hearts, and so we want to do them justice.
Good deal. Well, shall I move on as we see if more questions are coming in?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, it helps if I, again, are in the PowerPoint.
All right, so yeah, Chapter 12, Visions in the Dark. This is our next story chapter coming up in April. As you see there, that's early access, right? Early access,
Yep.
April 5th.
Yep.
Those of you who have played Chapter 11 know that you've made an important discovery at the end of the chapter alongside Eric Jorgen and Havoc Squad. That's going to kind of combine with information that you got with Cleo back in Chapter 10 to lead to a very important new piece of information, something that is going to give you a potentially huge advantage against the Eternal Throne, against Emperor Arkin. And so that, of course, is going to lead to a deadly mission, something that could really go bad if it doesn't go the way you want. So it's you know, there's going to be a lot on the line here. And for that reason, the player is forced to turn to Valkorion, good old Eternal Emperor, still stuck in our heads, still teasing us in our brains. He's the guy
That's right.
He's the kind of guy who has information on the places where we're going to go in this mission, kind of guy who can give a really valuable insight. But he doesn't help us unless he wants to help us, and in this case, it may turn out that he doesn't want to. It might be a little messy for our Outlander. Could go bad, but you'll have to tune in and see. Also really excited about this chapter because it has a special return appearance from two fan favorite characters, Satil Shan, and special guest appearance, the spirit of Darth Mar himself.
So I can't believe
We've teased actually
I put
for a
this
while.
in the previous slide thinking that
I
chat
didn't-
would go crazy
I didn't
about,
see any
oh
of
my
it.
god, a Satil Amar coming back, and either we didn't notice it
I didn't
or
catch any. I was
my
looking.
subtlety wasn't strong enough.
I was looking, Ben. I didn't see it.
Yeah, so you know, we've kind of hinted at their presence on Odessen in past chapters. So this is going to be your chance to actually run into them and find out a little more about what's going on. Why are those two characters, of any two people in the galaxy, why would those two be hanging out and talking things over? And what are they going to have to say to our Outlander? So it's going to be a really cool chapter, a little bit different from some of the ones we've been doing. You know, a little more focused on the Force and the mysteries and prophecy and destiny, all that great Star Warsy stuff that Valkorion loves to talk about. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm so excited.
Also get a chance to see a little more of Odessen. You know, we have our base there. We spend a lot of time there, but haven't gotten to really go out into the world itself, you know, explore the wilderness a bit. So this is going to be a chance to do that as well.
Good deal.
Cool.
I'm
Have,
excited.
have we built up some questions for Charles?
Yeah, so this is an interesting, and I don't know if you actually will answer this question, but
Ooh, that's my favorite kind.
how much time has passed from the time you were frozen in carbonite till Chapter 11?
Ooh. Till Chapter 11?
I'm going to need that to the minute.
To the minute?
To the minute, please.
I'm going to shoot from the hip and probably change my answer later when it actually matters. I'm going to guess that, you know, it couldn't have been more than a month or two since you were unfrozen in carbonite.
Since you were
know.
unfrozen.
Yeah. So generally we like to have things in the game roughly follow the time that is passing in real life, you know, excepting the 5-year carbonite freeze. So, I wouldn't say that there was a month from when we recruited Cleo to when we recruit Jorgen, but, roughly that time when you're recruiting other members of your alliance, building up your base, doing all of that kind of stuff. There were several training montages back in Chapter 9
That's right.
where time passes. That would presumably have covered more than a few minutes of time.
And repairing the gravestone probably took a little bit of time.
Yeah,
a little bit.
It did take a
few weeks, maybe.
A few hits there.
A few minutes.
So, I would say probably 5 years and a couple months.
Got it. Good deal.
Time there.
All right, shall I hit the next button?
Yeah, sure, if we're ready.
Boom.
Ah, yes. Our other character appearing, brand new character for Chapter 12, also releasing with Early Access on April 5th. Akgal Usar. This is a Dashad. He is a shadow killer, kind of like Kim Vol, who Inquisitor players are familiar with. You're going to find him in a mysterious tomb on Yavin 4. You have to solve a sort of elaborate puzzle to unlock him and get to know him, see what his backstory is. He's really interesting because he's someone who can kind of bridge the gap from the ancient past of Star Wars, from like the Exar Kun, the Great Sith War, all of that stuff, and kind of connect that all the way now to the present where we're dealing with Valkorion and the Eternal Empire and all of this. So it's a really fun kind of character to do. Someone who's actually been through something similar to our Outlander, who also lost a bit of time to the galaxy and seeing how things changed. So it's going to be a cool chapter. He's a cool character. Always love doing these Alliance missions, especially when we can do something really kind of special and unique like this one.
So this is a question that there's no better person to answer than you. What happened to Alara Dorn?
Oh, good old Alara. So we haven't revealed that yet. Obviously, Jorgen makes a few references to it. As he describes in Chapter 11, and this isn't too much of a spoiler because Lana also gets into this a little bit back in Chapter 4, the Republic is an interesting place to be right now. While Chancellor Suresh is no longer officially in charge, she's pretty much still in charge. She's got kind of a puppet chancellor there in place, basically just doing whatever she says. She's essentially sidelined the entire Senate. She can put through anything she wants. And obviously a big part of that, players who have played the Trooper class story know Havoc Squad had kind of shifted to this position of being kind of the frontline squad, both in terms of literally in combat, but also as far as the public knows. They're actually famous. Everyone knows who Havoc Squad is. They don't necessarily know who all the members are, but
sure.
They've heard of Havoc Squad. Whenever Havoc Squad goes on some big dangerous mission, they love to promote it, talk about, hey, they achieved something impossible, a great win for the Republic. And certainly the commander of Havoc Squad is someone that does have to make appearances and talk to people. And Suresh is not the kind of person who will tolerate a former Imperial being anywhere visible on her most elite Republic squad of all time. So it is likely, though we haven't gotten into exactly what's happened, it's likely that Alara was not allowed to continue with Havoc Squad and is elsewhere for the time being.
Good question and good answer. Good answer. I did not know any of that. This is awesome. All right. So.
We're just going to do the wrap-up.
That's probably supposed to say March. Pretend that says March.
Yeah. Jeez, Moscow, why don't you catch that? Okay, so wrap up. So just to summarize the big things we talked about. So Chapter 12, Visions in the Dark, is going to be coming for early access on April 5th, full access on April 7th. The smartest thing to do here is be subscribed April 1st to have early access, obviously, and pick up the subscriber reward. There's actually a lot of stuff coming with Chapter 12. We've got the Odessa Proving Grounds, which is a new Warzone, the Rishi Arena, our 4v4 Arena of Death. We have all our quality of life improvements, which we had 2 full slides of bullet points on.
Yep.
A lot of cool stuff there that should make life easier for a lot of people. And the Akgal Usar recruitment mission, which I can finally say it properly, I think, after these last
I want you to know,
weeks
when I was going through the slide,
trying.
I was like, how do I pronounce that?
We'll just do a whole stream that's just me pronouncing it.
Yeah, I like it.
That's why Charles is here. No, okay.
Yeah.
And then the Eternal Championship we talked about, we had to push it out, make sure we deliver something really fun and engaging to all of our players. It's going to be coming to PTS this month. Our goal is in the next 2 weeks. And then the next producer stream will give the launch date for that we will hit for sure this time. And then the Inside the Story video blog is coming soon, hopefully in the next week or two, even sooner potentially. And just the things Charles talked about now is like a little sampler of all the goodness you can get by checking out that video blog. It's actually really cool and interesting, and I know you guys will love it, especially the story fans out there.
Yep. And then again, we'll be doing a forum wrap-up, as we always do, of everything we talked about today, which will be up 30 minutes or so after I get out of this room, which will recap everything we talked about. And again, any specific questions that we didn't answer on the stream, feel free to shoot them in that thread, and I'll work with these guys on getting those answers. One last note, which I knew we'd almost forget, which is why I wrote it down. The next live stream is probably going to be on that Tuesday.
Yes.
So it would be on April 5th.
April 5th.
Yeah,
Yep.
so our next producer live stream will be
2
on
days
April.
early.
Correct, yeah. Because again, Ben will be at the office, so we want to make sure that Ben can be here to talk to you guys about the producery live stream stuff.
Right.
As Ben does.
And there's one more question to answer real quick. Is Akgar Lusar part of the story like Lionel Theron, or is he a side character like Blizz?
Like Blitz, yeah. He's an Alliance recruitment.
Yep, just clarifying that.
There you go. All right.
We're going to leave you guys with the teaser trailer for Chapter 11 that just went live. In case you haven't played it, get you excited to get home after work or whenever you're able to patch up and play Chapter 11.
Yep. All right, so I'm going to turn our faces off again and mute the mic, and then I'll switch over to the video. Thank you guys very much for tuning in.
Thanks for coming.
And we'll talk to you next month.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks so much.